Good afternoon, one and all present here. Today we discussed about C3491 strength of materials. First of all, we know that what is mean by strength of materials. What is mean by strength of materials? First of all, strength of material is defined as the ability of to withstand a load, or resist a deformation of a load. And this we discussed beam and its types. In strength of material, we discussed about beam and its types. First of all, what is mean by beam or definition of beam? A beam is a long horizontal structural member is called as beam. And then types of beam. Types of beams generally classified as 5 types of beams. First one, cantilever beam. Second, simply supported beam. And third one, fixed beam. Fourth one, overhanging beam. And last one, continuous beam. Continuous beam. So here one by one we will discuss. First one, cantilever beam. When the beam is one end is fixed rigidly in wall and another end is free. A beam, one end is rigidly fixed with the wall and another end is free is called as cantilever beam. The entire length we denote L. Length L. And second one, simply supported beam. Simply supported beam. The simply supported beam also called as freely supported beam because the beam freely supported at both ends. A beam freely supported at both ends. The entire length is called L. So simply resting at both ends. And third one, fixed beam. When the beams are both ends are rigidly fixed in walls. When the beam, the both ends are rigidly fixed in wall is called as fixed beam. The length is L. Next one, fourth one, overhanging beam. And fourth one, overhanging beam. So when the beam is extend beyond the limit, that means extend the support is called as overhanging. Is called as overhanging beam. And fifth one, continuous beam. So continuous beam is nothing but more than 2 supports. A beam having more than 2 supports is called as continuous beam. This is the main 5 types of beams. First one, cantilever beam. Second, simply supported beam. And third one, fixed beam. Fourth, overhanging beam. And fifth one, continuous beam. So in this beam, what are the loads are applied? Next we discussed types of load acting on the beam. So what are the loads acting in the beams? Generally the three types of loads acting. First one, concentrated loads or point load. And second one, uniformly distributed load. It is simply called as UDL, uniformly distributed load. And third one, uniformly varying load. UVL, simply called as UVL. So we will discuss one by one. First one, point load or concentrated load. When a load acting at a certain point is called as point load, that means W. The beam length is L and load acting is called as W. And second one, uniformly distributed load. So UDL. And the load will be evenly distributed. The load will be uniformly distributed. Entire length is called load per length. It is called as uniformly distributed load. And finally, uniformly varying load. Or gradual load. When the load is gradually increased, is called as uniformly varying load. It is also known as triangular load. Okay, thank you to all.